Okay, let's do step one of activity one. We're going to look at BIM data. And one of the things we want to learn about or make sure that we're familiar with are what we call phases. A phase is a certain time or a certain point during a project. And often it has to do with either who's going to be working or the fact that something's been done and now the bank can pay for it. But here's a very simple file. It's got a piece of land, a topography. It's called a topo solid. And right now I'm just looking at the 3D view and I don't really know what I'm looking at. But if we go over to the project browser, we'll see that there's a site plan for existing. That's got to be how the site is right now and before the project gets going. And then there's a site plan for new. So let's take a look at those. The site plan existing. Existing topographies are usually brown and earth. And if we look in the properties, down at the very bottom, it says I'm looking at the existing. So I've named it, but most importantly, in the phasing part of the properties of this plan view, it says I'm looking at the phasing of existing. So now if we look at the new, think. I've been clicking. So now we'll see how this goes. Now we'll go to the new, and it looks a little bit different. Not a lot different. That's all brown. It shows brown and green, but look, the topo lines on this look way different than the new. So there's been some sort of grading done, and there's still some building pad here. And when I look at the phasing on this one, it says this is the site plan new, and this is new construction. So that's what I'm looking at, and I can actually look and see what's going on in this file at different times as well as different views. And so then if I come down to my 3D views, I can see that there's a 3D view of my existing. And I can see it's low here and kind of high here and here and here, kind of medium here and here. And then there's something called graded and excavated. So they've done something. They've graded and excavated. Oh, look, they've done some grading and they've dug a hole of some sort. And that's also under what's called new construction. And then there's a compacted building pad, which just filled that in. I can see if I kind of get on there. Oh, there it goes. I've filled it in. So that's what we want to be able to know. You should get into this file, click on all these things, look on all these things, and see what it looks like. And then finally, we should know that there's different schedules available, which are pre-made here. So there's the thing we're interested first is the topo solid, and so existing, there's 4,821 square feet. There's no cut and fill because it's just there. And then something happens and it gets graded. The area is almost exactly the same, but I've done a net cut and fill of 4,285 cubic feet. That's quite a bit. And then I've put back in a building pad that's 625 square feet. So there's a building pad that's put in that's 1,892. Let me make that bigger for you so you can see it. There we go. So existing, new, compacted. And a topo solid schedule gives you lots of things, but I'm most interested in the area, and cut and fill only applies to new topo solids, new phase. So that's why those are showing up here. Okay, once I'm in here, I want to get this into some nicer format for somebody to work with. So I can go File. It's going to think for a bit, and I'll export. And the type of export I want is a schedule. So I go to Reports and click Schedule. It's going to think for a minute while it's preparing it. And I need to be in the one, I have to have the one showing that I want to export. And then it's going to ask me where to put it. For right now, I'm just going to put it in the downloads, but you can see here that's what it's called, TopoSolid Schedule, and it's a CSV, comma separated variables. And that's an easy way to export it, and any spreadsheet, Excel or Google spreadsheet, can import that and read it. So I'll save that, and I'm going to put it somewhere I can get to it. And then the last thing to do, and I'm not going to demonstrate. Oh, and yeah, put all this stuff in there. Put all of the stuff. Okay. And then the last thing to do is make a well-formatted table and download that as a PDF. Okay, and I don't think I need to show you how to make a table at this point. You've done tons of them and you're doing great work with that. Just make a well-formatted table. One of the things that you'll find, by the way, is these square feet kind of ruin the table. I didn't do it here, but you could change this so the square feet ends up here and the cubic foot ends up here. And these are just numbers. And that is easier for a table to deal with. And you may wish to do that. When I'm in class, I'll probably demonstrate that. There you go. That's the first thing, which is to review construction phases in Revit.